if you're like me, you're a sucker for crossovers. Video games, movies, comic books, and TV shows have all had their fair share of crossovers, but we're here to talk about a specific kind of crossover, the Power Rangers crossover. For some reason, Power Rangers was prominent for its crossovers in the 90s and 2000s, but for some reason, there hasn't been a Power Rangers crossover in a very long time. That doesn't count. Neither does that. Okay then. Yeah, there are a lot of Power Rangers crossovers out there, but there are some that we just wanted to happen, but ended up not happening. And why is that? Well, I don't know why, but I will tell you why I'm here. I'm here to count down the top 5 Power Rangers crossovers that should have happened, but didn't happen. And keep in mind, this is my personal list, so if you see a crossover that you think should have happened, but ended up didn't, and it didn't make the list, then don't get too upset. So just keep in mind, this is my personal opinion, so don't get too upset if, what we addressed. Okay, without any further ado, let's get to the list. Number 5. Alright, let's get the obvious one out of the way. Yes, we all would have loved to see a Mighty Morphin, Dino Thunder, Dino Charge team up. And to be honest, I don't know why this didn't happen. I mean, there was a Sentai movie, so they didn't have to do a lot of original footage. And it would have been great to see the 3 Dino teams work off of each other, which would have been really cool to see. However, there was a few reasons. I mean, with the Sentai counterpart movie, sure, there was a lot of stuff going on, and it would have been hard to replicate here in America. But, to be fair, some of the actors did voice work. They didn't show their faces outside. The only actors were actually the Kroyugers, Abare Red, and Tyranno Ranger. All the other Abba Rangers and Jew Rangers just did voice work, so it would have been really perfect. However, some of the actors may or may not have been unavailable. Not to mention the passing of Tui Trang, the actress who played Trini in the original MMPR. But hey, this would have been great to see, and you can't deny it. And if I were you, I wouldn't get my hopes up for an Alien Rangers Ninja Storm Ninja Steel crossover. Just throwing it out there. Number 4. Okay, this next one may not be on your list, but it is on mine, and it's kinda out of the ordinary. I would have loved to see a Megaforce Dino Charge crossover. Now, hear me out. I know how we all feel about the Megaforce seasons. They weren't that good. Actually, they weren't good at all. But that's beside the point. Anyway, I would have loved to see them come back in Dino Charge and just let them see what their lives as Power Rangers has resulted to, seeing what the current team is up to. Like, it could start off with them going into the Dinosaur Museum and then meeting the new team of Power Rangers. Then they discover the secret base they have underneath the museum, and that would lead them to discovering who the current team is, and it would just be great to see them, like I said before, it would be great to see the teams interact off of each other and, see how they compare with each other, and, it would just be pretty cool. And even the actors of Megaforce even flat out admitted that they thought Megaforce sucked, and maybe this could be, to see what... And since Dino Charge was written by completely different people than Megaforce, maybe it would be great to see the Megaforce characters handle a bit more better writing, because, think of it like a second chance for them. I'm just saying. Number 3. Okay, this next entry is probably the only one on the list that I wanted to see, but you guys may have not wanted to see. A Ninja Storm Wild Force crossover. I know, it's kind of weird, but hear me out. The original concept for Ninja Storm was called Power Rangers Hexagon, or whatever, and the concept was that there was going to be this worldwide training school taught by Power Rangers teaching students to be Power Rangers. Think a Power Rangers version of Hogwarts, and the 3 Ninja Storm students were going to be students at that academy. And based on that original concept, I'm surprised this did not happen. I mean, it is pretty cool. It's a cool idea. And why didn't it happen? I mean, sure, Power Rangers Hexagon was a little expensive and, you know, stuff, things. Okay, now I'm getting off topic. So yeah, Wild Force and Ninja Storm, it would make an interesting concept, but it's easy to see why it didn't happen because at the time Power Rangers was being filmed in New Zealand, and this was one of the first Power Rangers series to be filmed in New Zealand, and Wild Force was the last one to be filmed in the US, so it would be difficult to mix and match footage from both countries, and it would just make for really confusing times. Number 2. Alright, this next one is certainly a stretch, even for Power Rangers. I would have really liked to see a Jungle Fury RPM crossover, which, when you really think about it, is a very interesting crossover because, hey, the late 2000s were a very fun year for Super Sentai and, for that matter, Power Rangers. Jungle Fury is one of my personal favorite seasons of Power Rangers, and not too crazy about RPM, but I do like it. And I do really love Go-Onger. It's one of my personal favorite Super Sentais, and I am not too crazy about Jungle Fury. Funny how that worked. I love Jungle Fury, but I'm not too crazy about RPM, and I'm not too crazy about Geki Ranger, but I love Go-Onger. Funny how that works. Okay, back on track. I really would have loved to see this happen. I mean, it would have, like I've been saying before, the teams interacting off of each other are one of the coolest parts of a Power Rangers crossover. But it is confirmed by Power Rangers lore that RPM takes place in another dimension, and there would have been like a wormhole for the Jungle Fury Rangers to get there, and RPM had no connection to any of the previous Power Ranger seasons, unless you count the blink and you miss it pizza shop cameo in RPM. You know what? Actually, there were a lot of, what was I talking about? Man, this is just random. So, yeah, Jungle Fury and RPM, why didn't it happen? Disney, why didn't it happen? And I do mean Disney, because at that point in Power Rangers history, Disney did own the rights to Power Rangers. Seriously, why didn't it happen? Number 1. Alright, admit it guys, you knew what number 1 was the moment you clicked on the video. Mystic Force and SPD. Yeah, we all would have loved to see it, but for some reason it didn't happen. I mean, come on, there was a Sentai movie, and it would have been great to seeing how Mystic Force comes from more mystical abilities, while SPD has more technological stuff available. It would have been great to see the whole mystical versus technological thing go on, and it would have been great to see the teams fight before they fight alongside each other. I know, that's pretty much a cliche in Power Rangers crossovers these days, and for a matter of fact, Toku crossovers, and as a matter of fact, any crossover you can think of, but it would have been great to see these two Power Rangers teams, debate over which was better, mystical or technological. And plus, Mystic Force is my personal favorite season of Power Rangers, and I'm not too crazy about SPD, though, but it would be great to see these two teams actually interact with each other. Yes, I know, I've been saying that a lot throughout this countdown, but seriously, seeing the teams interact are some of the best parts of any crossover, and it is really amazing. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. In the comments below, let me know what Power Rangers crossover you would have liked to seen, but ended up not happening. It could have been on this list, it could have not been on the list, you just never know. As always, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and of course, as always, until next time, see ya.